Good morning, my loves. Happy Tuesday. Another glorious day here at the lake in Arizona. The high today is 108, which actually, that's not too bad. We'll definitely take it. It's so much better than 116, so it's a keeper. Huge, huge response to yesterday's video about toxic families and children. So I think we need to keep talking. I really think we do. Some people made some good points, and that was that parents are role models. Elders in the family, whether that's grandma, grandpa, aunties, uncles, whatever, they are role models. And even, yes, extended family, they are role models. And children will see how they behave and they will repeat those behaviors. Absolutely. And someone had brought up the point that they learned how to be, in this case, a man, by their grandfather. And that's wonderful. That, a positive role model is a positive role model regardless of the gender. The problem is people that are not the positive role model. That's the issue. And you see a lot of families, I see a lot of families that I will use both sides of the coin here, that women are horribly abusive to men. I see that a lot. And I see men that are horribly abusive to women. And you talk to them, and this includes people that are in the jail system. I mean, they are people that have been incarcerated because a lot of times it will end up, the violence will grow, and that's where they will end up. Not saying that it happens all the time, but frequently it does happen. And their moms were violent. Their moms, wouldn't hesitate, just doubling up their fist and popping, dad in the nose. People are violent. And children recognize this and will repeat those behaviors. They think, well, if this is how mom does it, this is how I should do it. Or maybe mom and dad will tell you, this is how we treat women. This is how we treat men. We keep them in line. We check them at the door. No, we don't. No. Stop the cycle of abuse. Stop the cycle of toxic behavior. Just stop and think, when you, as an adult now, how you felt as a child when you witnessed this. When you witnessed one person hitting another person, one parent, maybe it was, and I'm not saying it has to be a gender thing. What if your dad hit your sister, hit your brother? How did that make you feel? What if they hit you? How did that make you feel in here? Yes, you suffer the pain, but how do you feel in here? You feel degraded. You feel awful. You feel broken, betrayed. Almost yawned. So that's what we want to stop. Because as an adult, you forget all of that. You put that way in the corner in the back of your brain, and you don't want to think about that. You just think about, this is how I react to these situations with violence, with anger, with rage. So when in a marriage, in a relationship, when one party provokes another, when one party doesn't get dinner on the table at the right time, male or female, if the laundry isn't done, if somebody changes the channel on the TV, somebody says something that somebody else doesn't like, instead of using your words like an adult, they use violence. And that is what we need to stop. That's the problem. And so often children are brought into this because one parent will think, well, if we have a baby, they won't act like this. Honey, if they have a baby, it's going to continue, and the baby will be treated like this. I have seen, back when I was a nurse, of course, working in the hospital, I have seen newborns, itty bitty tiny newborns brought in, that one parent got angry at the other parent but took it out on the child and beat the holy hell out of a newborn baby that was 2 or 3 weeks old. I know, and you think, no, that didn't happen. Happens every day, honey. Happens every day. I know firsthand of a man that got angry because his newborn child cried. Babies cry. He didn't want to hear it, and it's not like the child was screaming. The child started to cry. It was hungry. And he yanked the child up and, as he put it, beat its ass. The child wasn't even a week old. but he was going to show it who's boss. This is a newborn. Well, that's how his daddy did him. That doesn't make it right. So now you have brought a child into a relationship, giving a child a job to heal the relationship. It's not working. So now you beat the child. Now you tell the child it's stupid, it's dumb, it's worthless because it's not doing its job. Well, honey, its job is your job. It's your job to heal your relationship, not your kids. It is not your kid's job. Never, never tell the child, oh, you want to know the reason mommy and daddy are breaking up? It's your fault. You want to know the reason, mommy, daddy, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, are breaking up? It's your fault because you don't do your homework, because you don't listen, because you do this and you do that. No. No. Take accountability for your own actions. You're the parent. Own up. If you can't control your household, that's on you. It's not on your child. Stop. That's ridiculous. And that is also abuse. It is emotional abuse with your child. People do not realize that a child growing up in a violent environment, kids get PTSD just like adults. You think of the term PTSD and you think of somebody that has been in Iraq, Afghanistan, in the middle of a war. Well, honey, everybody has their own war. For some people, it's growing up in a toxic environment of screaming and yelling and violence and rage. Maybe your parents don't scream and yell. Maybe it's the silent treatment. My mother was queen of the silent treatment, trust me. She would freeze my dad out for a couple of weeks. She froze my sister out for 10 years. Would not speak to her, would not acknowledge her presence for 10 years. What does that tell people in the families? What does that tell my sister's children? What did that tell me? What does that tell my child? What does that tell other people? The person that is the freezer, the person that is the abuser, they think, well, I'm showing them. I'm taking control. No, you're not. You're not. You're being an ass. You want to take control, use your words. Sit down and have a dialogue. Talk to the person. That's how you take control. That's how you solve situations. Stop acting like a child. Absolutely. The only thing you're showing anybody by behaving that way is that you are a total ass. Use your words. And the person that is on the other end of that, the person being frozen out, everybody's different. My sister got to the point it was, yeah, well, whatever. I think after year 2, it was, okay, fine. I'm not invited to Thanksgiving or Christmas or holidays or picnics or whatever. My dad, on the other hand, my dad was a very gentle soul, and it would break his heart. I have seen him sit with tears in his eyes. And he would say, Mother, why won't you talk to me? And she would just cross her arms and glare at him. That was her. Instead of using her words, she would try and control and manipulate him with silence and anger and rage. Very manipulative, passive-aggressive, just plain damn evil. And her attitude was, well, he'll figure it out. I don't have to tell him what he did wrong. He knows. Yeah, not unless you tell somebody. They'll figure it out. Yeah, what if they don't? What if they don't? What if they don't? And then I've had a couple of cases as a trauma therapist that this is going on in a family and then there's an accident, a car accident, a heart attack. Something happens and someone dies. And it's then oftentimes, not always, but the abuser will say, yeah, but I didn't mean it. I didn't get to tell them. Well, you should have thought of that. Stop acting like an ass. But there are others that will just be haughty about it. And, oh, well, that's on them. Those are narcissists. People that do not have empathy, sympathy, compassion. People that think they're always right, regardless. That can justify their jealousy, their envy, their manipulation, their evil. They got a problem. Do not raise your child in that environment. Do not allow your child to be around that environment. If you're visiting family and somebody's behaving like that, if a fight breaks out, if an argument breaks out, if somebody starts acting disrespectful, get your child and leave. All you have to do is say, no, I'm sorry, we don't do this. I'm not exposing my child to this. I do not care if your child is 2 or 20. Get the hell out of there. You don't have to tolerate it. I don't care if it's mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle, whoever. Get the hell out of there. Because if you stay, you're condoning it. If you make excuses if you make excuses for the abuser, oh, you know how that's how they get when they drink. Well, he's always been like that. His daddy was like that. Well, wasn't Uncle so-and-so like that? Okay, you're condoning the behavior because you're rationalizing it. You're justifying their behavior. Well, you know, he hasn't felt good lately. Well, it might be that time of the month for her. Well, she goes off on a rage sometimes. She can be awful spiteful. So you're rationalizing it? You're giving them a free pass? No, that means you're condoning it. Have the balls, have the courage to say, no, not on my watch. You want to behave like that, do it on your terms, in your time, in your space, not around me, not around my kids, and get the hell out. If it's your parents that are behaving this way and you're an adult, sit them down. They might get pissed. They might tell you to mind your own business. Well, hey, keep your business out of mine. If I'm around, you're going to both behave respectful and kind. And if you don't, I'm not coming around. I'm not bringing the kids around. If you can't act like grown-ups, I'm not bringing my kids around you. Same thing as somebody's drinking or doing drugs. You don't take your kids around them. If they can't act appropriate, don't be around them. You don't have to. You don't have to. You owe more to your child than you do to your parents. It's your responsibility to teach your child right, wrong, morals, ethics, values, compassion, understanding. And you teach that not just by word, but by deed, by how you live your life, the people you have around your child, whether that's family members, extended family, neighbors, whomever. Let your child know what's appropriate, what isn't appropriate. Let them know how to treat people with respect and kindness, and not to tolerate abuse. Nobody should put up with abuse. No one. So if you are in an abusive relationship, please get out. Get safe. If you are the abuser, and I am not being mean and cruel, please, I am sure someone that hears this has an anger issue. Someone that hears this just goes into a blind rage sometimes. Honey, I want you to listen, okay? I am not judging you. I want you to get the help you need and you deserve. You deserve to have a life of happiness and peace. Just because you were raised this way does not mean it's right. And I think you probably know that. Because after you hit someone, you scream at someone, whatever, you may feel bad. You may go to them and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. But baby, you do it again and again and again and again. Let's get some help, okay? Let's find out why it's happening. Unlearn the toxic behaviors and learn healthy behaviors. It's never too late. It doesn't matter if you're 17 or 70, baby, it's never too late. And if you're in a relationship and you both want it to work, you just don't know how, go to couples counseling. Seriously, talk to a therapist. Talk to a marriage counselor. I would say talk to your clergy, but in some religions, this is condoned. In some cultures, it is socially acceptable. It's not. No one should be beaten. Nobody should be talked down to, embarrassed, humiliated. No one. As an adult, you shouldn't go through it. As a child, you shouldn't go through it. If you went through it, don't put your kids through it. Let's get the help that you need. It's there. It's available. If you need help finding a therapist, there are, just go on the internet. There are online services that are available. There are some that are free. Many, I would say most, accept insurance. There is no excuse for saying, I can't afford help, because it's there. And you're worthy. Your kids are worthy.